Hi everyone, it's Mary Lynn from Ecstasy Crafts, and I'm here this afternoon to show you the Hunkydory Project Magazine. And this magazine includes an embossing folder, a die, and a stamp set. So you get everything, including a magazine full of ideas to create lots of projects. So what I'm going to do is show you the items that come in the kit first, and then I'm going to show you some samples of projects I made with the items. So I'm just going to switch my camera and we'll get started. All right. So this is the project magazine kit, and it actually comes in a box. So you're going to get everything in a box, which is great to keep things stored together. This is the embossing folder. It's nice that it has a purple coloring on the front, showing you exactly the design for the embossing folder. And it does have little dots and a couple little crosses that also come out in the design. The back is clear, so you'll always know how you need to put the paper in the embossing folder. The size is A6, or perfect for a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 or A2 size card. You also are going to get this stamp set, and this includes a double swan stamp. You get a unicorn, you get a few little butterflies, a couple stars, and you get 2 sentiments: have a magical day and with love. So you get that stamp set as well. And then you're going to get this die, which is a swan with some flowers on the back. And I'm going to show you a sample I made, how I made this swan 3-dimensional. So maybe you can see there if I turn it. And I've got the flower. And I added some glitter. And I also used the embossing folder in here. So I'm going to show you how I made that swan 3-dimensional in a few minutes. In addition to these items that you're going to have just to keep in your stash forever, you're going to get some cardstock and toppers. You're going to get 4 sheets of toppers. So these are press out designs. They have images of swans and unicorns. They have sentiments that you can add to your project, and they have beautiful silver foil accents. I've used one here. Actually, it's here. You also get a little border down at the bottom. So that's one of the swan ones. This is one of the unicorn designs. Now the unicorn designs, again, everything presses out. This has gold foil accent. And here's another swan. And you can see I've used some of the images in the examples I made to show you. And another one of the unicorn toppers. So 4 total. Then you're going to get 8 sheets of what they call card insert paper. So it's basically white paper. It's a thin weight, and it has a very muted design that matches either the toppers or the other cardstock that I'm going to show you. So again, you get 4 of the different swan designs. So some are on the right-hand side, some are on the left-hand side, and you're going to get 4 with different unicorns. So 8 total of the insert sheets. I'm going to just push those away. Then you're going to get 4 sheets of lightweight, double-sided, and this is I guess, another type of insert paper for your cards, but they're beautiful floral designs. So these will match with any of the, whether you're going to use the swans or you're going to use the unicorns. So you get 4 of those. Then you're going to get 8 sheets of, this is thick cardstock. This is 350 grams square. And again, 4 of the swan designs and 4 of the unicorns. These have beautiful foil accents on them. And you can see how pretty the cardstock is. So one side has a swan design here, and then you have a beautiful border here. So you can use these as your background cards or on top of white cardstock, or make a box. Like I have an example for you. So lots of ideas for these. So 4 swans. I'm just going to keep adding them on top here. And then 4 unicorns. Now I used a unicorn and a swan, so that's why I could only show you 3 of each. And then again, the unicorn has beautiful gold foil accents. So that's the paper portion of the kit. And then you get this magazine. And here, right on the front, it says you get 73 crafting ideas. So this magazine will show you how to use the stamp set, the embossing folder, and the toppers, as well as the background paper. It gives you lots of ideas to make easel cards, how to combine things, and using the stamp set. So many designers were given these kits to play with, and they've come up with lots of ideas for you. Some ideas that I really liked was the idea of making a little box that you could store cards in or give to somebody to, oh, here it is, to give away, right? So as a gift, you could give them several cards that they could use, and you could make this little box. So all of the instructions are included, and lots of really nice ideas. So everything comes in this box, which isn't very thick, but everything is included and great for storage. So now I'm going to show you some examples I made using this kit. And I made different designs than what they have in the magazine. So you get a total of 1, 2, 3, 4. So 73 plus, let's say 5 more. So the first set I'm going to show you, I used the unicorn designs. I made this little box, and I used the cardstock paper, and I made, you can see how I used it in such a way so that there's a beautiful little border on a couple sides of the box. So with the same sheet, I was able to create this card. And this card, I used one of the toppers, and the background of the card, or the card base, I used a partial sheet of the cardstock. The other half of the sheet, which was sort of situated like this, I made the lid of the box. So you can use it in multiple ways. Here's a little sentiment for someone special. And then I also used the stamp on the inside to say, have a magical day. And I just used some gold embossing powder to match the gold accents on the outside of the topper. So here you have a nice little set to give to somebody. And then I thought, wow, the stamps would lend themselves to decorating an envelope. So I actually stamped here the unicorn stamp and colored it with some colored pencils to decorate the envelope. So that's another idea. And you have the stamps so you can use them multiple times. I'm just going to switch my camera here to try and make it a little closer. There. All right. So that's the unicorn design I made. And then I made this interlocking gatefold card using one of the background or one of the cardstock sheets. And I added it to white card. And then I used a topper to create this interlocking gatefold design. So I just used a portion of the sheet. I actually have half of the sheet left here. I just used the design portion. On the inside, I actually used the leftover pieces of the cardstock strip that I had left on each side. And I used one of the card inserts for the inside with the swan design. And I used one of the little sentiments. So that's another way you can use these items from your project kit. And I added a few little extra butterflies. This from silver cardstock that I had to match the silver accented butterflies on the design. I added a few pearls as well. And then along with making a set, I also used the swan stamp on my envelope. So this one I embossed with silver embossing powder, and I colored again in with colored pencils. So that's another set. And then I thought in the magazine, they had an example of using the embossing folder with like a mirror cardstock. So this is a Hunkydory mirror cardstock or Miri cardstock. It is available on our website. And this is like a holographic look. You can see the different colors showing up on the camera there. I just added a single topper with some double-sided tape behind to raise it up off the background. And then I added a bow. I added a few little pearls in the corners, and very quickly you have a beautiful card that you can use for a wedding shower, or some sort of wedding thing. And then in the magazine, they also have this example of how you can use the embossing folder where you join the edges, really. It's a kind of a strip, but you do it at the bottom of the strip, turn it over, and then do the other side. And then this could create a border for a slimline card. I didn't have a chance to make this up into a sample, but I thought it was a good idea to point it out for you. And then this is the final design that I made to show you. And this is an A2 size card. And I used the embossing folder for the frame. First of all, I cut out the circle design, and then I embossed it. And then I used some blending brushes to color my paper pink. I used a small blending brush to add some darker pink or just more pink color in the centers of the flowers. I added some blue to simulate the sky, and I made a little darker at the bottom for water. And then I added the swan made from the swan die in the middle. The swan die is sort of a debossing die. So it gives you different, I'm trying to get my camera, different indentations in the paper. And what I did was I cut it in a certain way to make it dimensional. So you can see that there's several layers here. And these dies already have some of the lines where you can cut. So I'm just going to show you how I cut those and then layered it. So this one, I can just go along the swan neck, and there are little die cut lines that I can follow to cut out my flowers. And so I'm just going to keep going around here. But this is how you can layer any of these deboss type dies. So now I can cut off my leaves because I'm just going to add the flowers. And then I also added the back feathers of the swan to make it dimensional. And then I cut out one more of this last little flower. So now I'll show you how I put it together. So I have my layers already here. I'll just bring them into the view of the camera. So this is, now I'm going to use this one here. I decided I would shade the leaves a little bit so that it wouldn't look white underneath. Then I shaded more of the leaves that would show for this second layer. I did color the beak as well. So I'm just going to peel off the protective layer of some foam tabs that I put on the back of my swan. And then I'll add it directly on top. Now I'm going to add the swan feather layer here. And now I'm just going to add my flowers. Now, this one is the one that goes right along the swan neck. And then this one, I'm going to add just beside it. And then my final layer, I'm going to add onto the back feathers of the swan. Now you can add a little bit of glitter to the design, and then you have a beautiful three-dimensional swan. So I hope those ideas inspired you a little bit, and you can see how many items and how many ideas you can get with this magazine project kit. It is available on the website, and it has a great price point. The Canadian website, it's selling for $20 to $75. So you get all of those items for that price, and you're going to use your embossing folder and your stamp set and your die over and over and over again. So I hope you can refer back to this video if you have any thoughts about how you might use other dies that you'll have and make them three-dimensional, or if you have other Hunkydory items, you can use similar designs with those. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. And I see people were making some comments and are thinking that these ideas were pretty good. So that's great. And we'll be back next week with another live video showing you something else that we have at Ecstasy Crafts. So I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.